Hello farmers, welcome to yet another presentation discussing a highly infectious poultry disease commonly called Gumboro. Gumboro is the name of the district in the US where it was first discovered. Its scientific name is infectious bursal disease. It's caused by a virus and so it cannot be cured by poultry drugs. It can infect turkeys, ducks and chicken. Today my focus is on its effects on chicken. The virus destroys the lymph cells within the tonsils, spleen, and cloaca bursa of Fabricus. These organs are crucial in the body's defense system. Their destruction gradually reduces the chick's immunity until total immunosuppression is realized. This leaves the body exposed to various opportunistic infections that take over. This unfortunately leads to eventual death of the whole flock, like almost 100% mortality rate. The disease has various signs and symptoms, visible starting 3 weeks of age. With a keen eye, you will be able to pick out chicks with rough feathers, behaving like it's cold, and uncontrollably dozing off. The main transmission route is oral-fecal route. Virus gets introduced while feeding, and more of them will be found in the droppings where it can survive for several months in the manure. Human activities can also introduce the virus in a new area. By the way, if the feed traps are easily accessed by wild birds, you are at a higher risk of this and many more diseases, and it should be a concern. The damage it will cause depends on factors like the specific virus affecting your chicks, the breed of the chicken, and the age at which it strikes. Newly hatched chicks, especially from vaccinated mothers, will already have some defense in form of maternally derived antibodies, but this will gradually wear off around the first 2 weeks of life. Most vaccination schedules will advise one to do the vaccination before the maternal defense is very weak. I have improved Kienyeji breed, so I will use the schedule proposed by Carlo. There are some general good practices that you can adapt to control the spread of viruses in your farm. And this is not only for Gumboro disease. It's good to deal with batches. When it comes to selling, you clear all the birds, conduct thorough disinfection before introducing a new batch of birds. Disinfecting shoes, boots, tools and equipment is crucial in everyday running of poultry business. The other thing is to refrain from introducing new birds from outside the farm into your flock. I like to call them Trojan birds. I know Kenyans know of those birds sold in open-air market. I will discuss more on this later in the video. It's also wise to control manure interaction with your birds. Common mistakes involve buying chicken manure from outside the farm to be used in your kitchen garden, where your chicken mostly spend their day scavenging for insects. Gumboro virus are stubborn and can survive in the manure for more than 4 months. The best and cost-effective way to control Gumboro in your farm is by vaccination. And this is the main subject of today's video. As it turns out, I'm not fan of too much theory. I find it boring. I hope you're still awake by the way. I realize you just can't make this stuff any more interesting. Okay, let's go to the farm. I will show you how I do the vaccination. The vaccine is stored in a fridge and not frozen. 2 to 8 degrees Celsius is ideal for storage. I have 93 chicks, so I'll use 100 doses vial. I bought it at around 250 Kenya shillings. If you have fewer or more chicks, you can ask the agrovet shop to sell to you the best dosage for your population. These are some of the items I'm using to constitute the vaccine. The vaccine is the virus preserved in powder form in the vial or bottle. The virus is not known to infect humans, but I like to observe some discipline nevertheless. Most agrovets in Kenya can prepare it for you for free on request. They will also package it, advise you on how to transport it back to your farm, and even how to use it. I am using distilled water to dissolve the vaccine. You should check on my previous video titled Newcastle Vaccination for Indigenous Kienyeji Chicken, where I have gone into depth on some reasons as to why this is important. Most of the activities I am doing here are similar to the ones shown in that video too. And now it's story time. Back in the village, we used to go to church every Sunday. I still do. I think you should too. Anyway, some Sundays we had arambees or fundraising for various church projects. Since Vatican reduced its financial support to African churches, the going was not as easy. But I like the idea of self-dependency. I mean, we could not be crying of high costs of food and fuel prices if we had adopted similar model in our country. I hope someday Africa, and Kenya in specific, will one day realize that God has greatly favored us with countless resources. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, back in the village, Christians could bring farm produce to the church to be auctioned to generate money. So one day, one of my friends decided to buy some chicken from the event so that he could upgrade his already existing flock of chicken. This was a costly mistake. One morning, a week after, he called me. The sight inside the poultry house was like when the plagues hit Egypt's firstborn sons after Pharaoh's disobedience to God. Dead bodies of all his 100 plus chicken all over the floor. The new birds he had bought from the event did not seem to have any problem. In fact, they were feeding better with less competition. The enemy was hiding in plain sight. That's why I call such birds Trojan birds. Back to what I was doing. After dissolving the vaccine, it's time to go and vaccinate the chicks. The method of vaccination is oral method, that is through the mouth. I hope you notice that I do not add any supplements on the water today. Just pure, clean water and the vaccine. I have already starved the chicks from water for the last 1 hour, and I'm sure they are seriously thirsty by now. Check out what I mean by being seriously thirsty. Now, I have a question for you, my friends. After vaccination, does it mean your chicks will not get infected? Have you just answered yes? Well, let's just say vaccination ensures your chicks will have a strong immunity and so higher chances of survival when the real disease strikes. I guess that was like asking if a Christian gets tempted. Well, it certainly does, but shouldn't easily fall into temptation. If you find this kind of content beneficial to you, then remember to like, subscribe, and share the links with other farmers. God bless you and see you in my next video.